For my presentation, I chose the topic of the imposter/double and how it relates to all four works. Most of you probably know what an imposter is purely from the Among Us game, but just for clarity purposes, the definition of an imposter/double is looking like or pretending to be someone in order to deceive others. In my opinion, even though the role of the imposter/double is prevalent immediately in all four works covered, it has a lasting effect that continuously influences the minds and decisions of the characters. The imposter/double theme is seen through many characters between each work. It is introduced in the beginning of almost all four works and persistently stays a theme throughout the duration of each medium. The main characters are always thinking about the role of the imposter/double in their life, and because of this, things play out a lot differently than the protagonist's plan. The imposter/double theme in William Shakespeare's Hamlet is seen immediately through the ghost of dead King Hamlet, as we aren't sure if the double of dead King Hamlet is an actual ghost, a figment of the imagination, or just a hoax set up by someone. The ghost's words, along with Hamlet acting as his own double, constantly have a place in the minds of multiple characters. The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald is a novel that portrays the imposter/double theme through characters that are revealing a different version of themselves than what is actually true. The theme is mostly brought to light through Jay Gatsby, as Gatsby makes Daisy and Nick believe that he is an honest, wealthy man now, which is the reason Daisy chooses to pursue him again. Daisy can't stop thinking about this dilemma she is left in between Gatsby and Tom, causing her to catch a case of road rage on the way home from the hotel, where she hits and kills Myrtle Wilson.
The thread is ripping, the knot is slipping, love is blindness.
In both Hamlet and Gatsby, the imposter/double theme is seen through the protagonists acting as their own double. After the death of his father, young Hamlet feels the urge to devise a plan and decides to become a double/imposter of himself, as he warns only Horatio and Marcellus that he will pretend to be a madman by saying, "How strange are odds soe'er I bear myself, as I perchance hereafter shall think meet to put an antic disposition on." This mad double Hamlet portrays is arguably the common denominator in all of the tragedies throughout the play, as his act later causes Ophelia to go mad and drown when Hamlet tells her that,
"For virtue cannot so inoculate our old stock, but that we shall relish of it. I loved you not."
After Ophelia's death, Laertes wants revenge and sets up a duel between Hamlet and himself. And we all know how well that ends, as it results in the death of literally every main character left besides Fortinbras, who is the real winner of the play, and Horatio, who is just left with some serious PTSD after watching everyone he has ever known die. Hamlet acting as a double compares well to The Great Gatsby, where Gatsby himself is the main imposter. His original name was James Gatz, and he was from North Dakota. Gatsby's family were poor farmers who moved to the northern Midwest. He changed his name to Jay Gatsby and did whatever he could to fit in, but he had no money, so he had to resort to bootlegging to earn a fortune, while pretending he became rich through honest, morally decent ways. When people ask what he did for a living, he covers up by telling them, "Oh, I've been in several things. I was in the drug business, and then I was in the oil business, but I'm not in either one now." He even lies to his one true love, Daisy, who believed that he owned some drugstores, a lot of drugstores, and he built them up himself. Gatsby is clearly a genius imposter who is really good at making a story believable in order to make himself look good for others. However, Tom Buchanan was always uncertain and does a private investigation on Gatsby, where he finds out about Gatsby's shady past. Tom confronts him about it in front of Nick and Daisy by telling them, "I found out what Gatsby's drugstores were. He and Wolfsheim bought up a lot of side street drugstores here and in Chicago and sold grain alcohol over the counter. That's one of his little stunts. I picked him for a bootlegger the first time I saw him, and I wasn't far wrong." Gatsby does not deny this, leaving Daisy and Nick to realize he's actually acquired his wealth through bootlegging. This proved Gatsby is the ultimate imposter, and I believe this leads to the actions carried out throughout the book. The poem that connects to the imposter/double theme is called Parallel Paths by Kevin Clark. It goes as follows. "Today you're lucky, in love with your wife, for the first time in weeks. Both of you out for a walk in the overgrown park. No need to hold hands, like that sadly animate couple you can see through a clearing on a parallel path. She lets go and turns from him. You notice how in their weather, misery hangs faintly familiar in the cold shadows. As if having recently unlearned the habit of empathy, the sky over their forest seems to laugh at whatever they say. A woman turning from a man, their dog flexed on a heap of duff, pretending to study the sparrows. Now the woman feigns confidence, stepping gracefully away. 2 lives severed irrevocably. Such a capricious drug, the present. Look, for instance, at this woman's immediate future. Like yourself once, she will forget the names of old haunts, her voice a clever impostor, someone else filling her mouth, not with words, but vocables intending her own worth. Or right now, how all these thoughts have occurred to you in a flash. When you look up, your wife's vanished. But really she's there, of course, off the path, among the ancient waist-high grasses, holding out to you a single mutable wildflower, burning in its own ochre light. From here to that flower exist no guarantees. Best to get on with it. This poem by Kevin Clark is very deep, and the theme of the imposter/double is seen through the couple at the end of this parallel path who are a double of the narrator and his wife. He states that the present is such a capricious drug. This means the narrator has come to the realization that the present is very unpredictable, and that forever makes the future uncertain or unknown. Even though from the beginning of the poem we know that the couple down the path are imposters, this thought messes with the narrator mentally, and because his wife is physically gone now, he can't get her out of his head. And this leads to the narrator forcing himself to get on with it or keep moving forward. In both Parallel Paths and Hamlet, the imposters/doubles in each work allow for no guarantees to exist in the future, leading to unpredictable turn of events that occur for the protagonist. In lines 37 to 38 of the poem, Clark uses the metaphor, a single mutable wildflower, burning in its own ochre light. This means that anything is subject to change, but time will always be ticking, so don't wait too long. By attempting to solve your personal issues, the tables could turn in multiple ways, giving the future the ability to be unpredictable and surprise you. Young Hamlet also allows the future to be unpredictable by having tunnel vision as his own double. He chooses to work on his own personal issue of avenging the death of his father instead of protecting his romantic relationship with Ophelia. Hamlet decides to be an impostor of himself to deceive Claudius, and in doing so tells Ophelia to get thee to a nunnery. Hamlet putting on this impostor act makes him susceptible to the unforeseeable future, which surprises him quickly with the death of his love interest Ophelia. In both Parallel Paths and The Great Gatsby, the protagonists believe the imposter/double is helping them achieve their goals, but in the end, they realize the imposter/double was the cause of their downfalls. In the beginning of the poem, the narrator is in love with his wife, and we see the imposter/double is the couple at the other end of the path, much like Daisy and Gatsby when they had their perfect past together. In lines 4 to 5 of the poem, the narrator notes that for he and his wife, there is no need to hold hands, like that sadly animate couple. The author believes that by seeing this imposter couple at the end of the path, his wife will realize they don't need to hold hands, as they both know they love each other and don't need to prove it to one another by holding hands. But this imposter couple foreshadows the downfall of the protagonist and his wife as the narrator runs through all these thoughts in his head about their marriage, and when he looks up from the thought, his wife is gone with no guarantees of her return, destroying his hopes in the same way Gatsby was crushed when Daisy admits that she did love Tom. Like I said, Parallel Paths is very similar to the relationship of Daisy and Gatsby because Gatsby's failure comes from his belief that Daisy only cares that he is rich and luxurious now, and not about how he became wealthy or how he is acting as a double of himself. Throughout the novel, Gatsby wishes he could regain the perfect past he had with Daisy, and he attempts to do this by lying to her as a double of himself, pretending to be a morally decent businessman. William Wilson is a short story that portrays the imposter/double theme very well. The author does a very good job of unveiling the mood, setting, and details of the story right away as he thoroughly explains the childhood of memories of a protagonist, a young man who calls himself William Wilson. This is not his real name for an unknown reason. He does not want to unveil his actual name. Over the course of the high school, he meets another student who has the same name, birthday, height, looks, and gestures as him. The two boys competed to best one another in every way. However, he noticed this other William Wilson only made an appearance in times where the narrator has a possibility of doing something immoral. A short period of time after starting his next school, called Eton, he is followed by a cloaked and masked man who shows up only in times of possible harm. He quickly realizes this is the second William Wilson. Fearing the double of himself, the narrator flees to go study at Oxford. One night, he wins a large amount of money playing cards and gambling, only for the second William Wilson to walk into the room and reveal he was cheating. This drives the protagonist out of the school once again, looking for a way to escape his double. He travels the world unable to escape the second William Wilson. The imposter of Wilson is constantly stuck in the mind of the narrator, and it infuriates him so much he feels his desire to murder his double. The theme of the imposter in this story by Edgar Allan Poe is found through an imposter of the narrator. The imposter is met right away when he is described as having the same name, birthday, height, looks, and gestures as the narrator. This other William Wilson, even though he is introduced at a young age, follows the narrator through the years and is constantly in the back of his mind. Wilson appears throughout the story and cannot be escaped by the protagonist no matter what. This infuriates the narrator to the point that he feels a desire to murder his imposter, purely due to the fact that the thought of his imposter is always stuck in his head. William Wilson connects to Hamlet in the sense that the double/imposter of Wilson plays the same role as the ghost of dead King Hamlet. The double William Wilson is not the narrator, but plays a big role in the mind of the main character and his decisions, much like the ghost does to Hamlet. Throughout the short story, the other Wilson would only show up in circumstances in which evil might result. After every time Wilson appeared, the narrator would flee to unsuccessfully try and escape. This shows that while the double Wilson is not always present, the thought of him is constantly with the narrator, who fears and hates his imposter to the point of wanting to murder him. The ghost of dead King Hamlet has the same effect on young Hamlet as he appeals to Hamlet's strongest feelings by saying,
"If thou didst ever thy dear father love,
Oh God!
revenge his foul and most unnatural murder. Murder.
Much like William Wilson's imposter, the double of King Hamlet in ghost form does not appear often throughout the play, but his words are very impactful and enduring as they are the driving point behind Hamlet's future tragic actions. I found it interesting how relevant the fear of the unknown theme was and how it went hand in hand with the theme of the imposter/double. William Wilson connects to The Great Gatsby in the sense that the imposter/double in each work unlocks the fear of the unknown for each protagonist. In the short story by Edgar Allan Poe, the narrator, who is also called William Wilson in the story, meets his imposter and becomes overtaken by the idea of him. He consistently grows more angry and frustrated every time his imposter/double appears before him. This led to him constantly living in fear, and as a result, the narrator ends up driving himself crazy thinking about what could have been if it weren't for his imposter. Due to the fear built up inside the narrator surrounding his double, he feels the urge to murder him. His double only showed himself in times of possible evil though, so the narrator could have used him beneficially to teach himself when possible danger may occur. Gatsby, on the other hand, tried to use acting as a double of himself to his own benefit, unlike William Wilson, by attempting to win over Daisy. However, Jay Gatsby is stuck thinking about the past and fearing the future because of it. He thought that by becoming rich and showing off his wealth, he could win back Daisy and reacquire his perfect past with her.
Jay, you can't repeat the past.
Can't repeat the past.
No.
Why, of course you can.
These are Gatsby's words when Nick tells him that he cannot repeat the past. This shows us how Gatsby does not want to form a new relationship with Daisy. He wants every little bit of their past to reoccur in the present. This proves Gatsby is constantly in denial that he is living in the past and how he fears the unknown aspect of the future.